Imagine a woman who once claimed her son was the only heir to a sacred throne, suddenly returning to the palace in tears, claiming she was under a spiritual spell. Olori Shadow is back on her knees. She is begging everyone from the Golden King to Queen Naomi. But is this true repentance, or is it a calculated move to regain power? A short prayer for you. May every confusion in your life be cleared, and may those who seek your peace find their own rest. Amen. If you are looking for the heart of the matter, you are in the right place. Before we enter today's deep gist, if you haven't joined this royal family yet, hit that subscribe button now. Don't stay outside. Come inside and get the real updates as they drop. The land of the Golden Crown was unusually quiet, but the air was heavy with the kind of tension that precedes a massive storm. Inside the inner chambers, Olori Shadow stood, but she wasn't the proud, loud woman everyone remembered. Her head was bowed, her shoulders were slumped, and the fire that used to burn in her eyes had been replaced by a deep, drowning pool of tears. She looked like a woman who had walked through fire and came out scorched. She stepped forward to face the Golden King. For a long time, no one spoke. You could hear the distant sound of the palace drums, but inside, the silence was deafening. Olori Shadow began to speak, her voice trembling like a leaf in the wind. She expressed a level of gratitude that shocked even the palace guards. She told the Golden King that looking back at everything that had happened, the scandals, the fights, the public disgrace, she realized that she deserved even worse than what she got. "If you had thrown me out into the streets," she whispered, her voice breaking, "if you had taken a more severe action against me, I would not have blamed a single soul. I would have accepted it as my fate." This wasn't the Olori Shadow who used to challenge authority. This was a woman who seemed to have seen a ghost. She told the king and the gathered witnesses that she is finally at peace. She warned her loyalists, her friends, and those who used to egg her on to stay away. Nobody should judge this matter. Nobody should get involved. I am fine, she stressed. It was as if she was cutting ties with the very people who helped her create wahala in the past. She looked at the Golden King with eyes full of worship, describing him as a man of fairness and wisdom. She said the 24 months of discipline she was facing was not a punishment, but a form of mercy. To her, the Golden King had acted like a father and a judge wrapped into one. She told the crowd that even if she had to stay in the palace for eternity to prove she was a changed person, she was ready. She didn't want anyone to say the Golden King was being wicked to her. But then, the conversation shifted to Queen Naomi, and the atmosphere changed instantly. The suspense in the room climbed higher. Everyone knew the history between these two. Olori Shadow cleared her throat and made it very clear. From this moment on, her entire existence would be about supporting the Golden King and ensuring his happiness with the one woman he truly loves, Queen Naomi. She emphasized that she never intended to be a threat or create conflict. "Queen Naomi has never done anything to hurt me," Olori Shadow admitted, a confession that made the elders whisper among themselves. She claimed that if she truly hated Queen Naomi, she would have acted very differently during the times the Golden King had issues with her. Instead, she claimed she always respected her from a distance. She says she wants Queen Naomi to have everything, heaven and earth, and she has no problem with it. The most emotional part of the afternoon came when she addressed the biggest scandal of all, the claim that her own son was the heir apparent to the throne. The room went cold. Olori Shadow began to sob uncontrollably. She claimed that she was under a dark spiritual spell at that time. She said the words that came out of her mouth were not her own. "I could never have said something so ridiculous with my own clear eyes," she cried out. She described herself as a mere pawn in the hands of certain elders who were manipulating her spiritually and brainwashing her physically. She painted a picture of a woman who was a prisoner in her own mind, forced to say things that would cause chaos in the land of the Golden Crown. She began to mention names, apologizing to the Golden Crown elders, and even calling on Elder Bambushe to hear her plea for forgiveness. She turned her attention to an aunt she had wrongly accused in the past, begging for mercy. The level of humility was so intense that it felt uncomfortable for some to watch. She was stripping herself of all pride, layer by layer, in front of the entire palace. She even addressed Iyo, someone she had never seen eye to eye with. She apologized heavily to her and everyone she had wronged since she was a young girl growing up in the land of the Golden Crown. She swore an oath that from now on, Queen Naomi's fight is her fight. Anywhere I see someone fighting Queen Naomi, I would join her to fight that person, she vowed. The question on everyone's mind was, is this a woman truly delivered from a spell, or is this the most brilliant performance the palace has ever seen?
The silence that followed Olori's shadow's vow to protect Queen Naomi was so thick you could cut it with a knife. People were looking at each other, wondering if they should clap or if they should run. This was a woman who, not too long ago, was the center of every palace storm. Now she was stalking like a devoted soldier for the very woman she used to see as a rival. Olori's shadow continued her emotional plea, and this time the tears weren't just flowing, they were pouring. She began to describe the spell in a way that made everyone's skin crawl. She talked about the mental fog she had been living in, claiming that she was like a robot being controlled by invisible strings. She looked at the Golden Crown elders, those who were present and those who were not, and explained how she had been brainwashed. "They used me," she cried out, her voice echoing off the high palace walls. "They aligned their rules and their purpose with my life until I didn't know who I was anymore. I was fighting a war that wasn't mine. I was being used to destroy the peace of the Golden King, the very man I am supposed to serve." She spoke about the physical and spiritual pressure she faced, claiming that the people behind the scenes had done a thorough job of turning her against the palace. This wasn't just simple big grammar talk. She was describing a total takeover of her soul. She thanked the heavens that she had been given another opportunity to turn a new leaf before it was too late. The most gripping part of her speech was when she talked about her son again. You see, in the land of the Golden Crown, the issue of who sits on the throne is not a small matter. It is a sacred thing. For her to come out and say that her previous claims about her son being the heir were ridiculous was like a spiritual earthquake. She insisted that there was no way she, on her own, would have ever dared to say such a thing. She begged the Golden King to see her heart, to see that the woman who made those claims was not the real Olori's shadow. Then, she turned her focus back to her daily life within the palace walls. She addressed the rumors that the 24-month restriction placed on her was too harsh. Many people on the streets were saying the Golden King was being too tough, but Olori's shadow shut those rumors down immediately. "If the king says I should stay for 24 months, I will stay. If he says I should stay for the rest of my life to prove I am a changed person, I am ready," she declared. She was practically begging the public not to judge the Golden King for his decision. She wanted everyone to know that she deserved whatever discipline she got and that she was taking it with a heart full of gratitude. The intensity in the room kept rising as she began to apologize to specific people. She didn't just give a general "I am sorry." No, she went deep. She called out to the people of the land of the Golden Crown, those who had seen her grow up, those who knew her family. She admitted that she had become a version of herself that even she didn't recognize. She turned specifically to the matter of Ogunjaye and others she had crossed paths with. She was throwing away every bit of her ego. For a woman who was once known as the TikTok Olori because of how she moved on social media, this version of her was completely different. She wasn't looking at the camera, she was looking at the ground in shame. She told the palace that her only desire now is to build, support, and maintain harmony. She said she was tired of being the source of conflict. She wanted to be the one who brings water to the fire, not the one who fans the flames. She spoke about her personal growth, admitting that this whole wahala had taught her a lesson she will never forget. She reflected on her past mistakes with a type of humility that made even the most hardened elders nod their heads. But even as she spoke, you could see some people in the crowd whispering, "Is she for real?" One elder whispered to another, "Can a leopard really change its spot, or is she just trying to survive the storm?" The suspense was dripping from the ceiling. Olori's shadow was promising the world, but the weight of her past actions was still hanging in the air like a dark cloud. She concluded this part of her speech by emphasizing that she has no ill will, no hidden agenda, and absolutely no resentment towards anyone. She just wanted peace. She wanted to be close to Queen Naomi, to be her friend, and to support the love between the queen and the golden king. She claimed that she never ever wanted to hurt the queen and that she was praying for everyone to find it in their hearts to forgive her.
The palace floor was wet with Olori's shadow's tears, and for a moment it felt like time itself had stopped in the land of the golden crown. She wasn't just talking anymore, she was mourning the woman she used to be. Every person standing there, from the highest palace official to the lowest guard, was stuck in a state of confusion. How can a woman who was once so fierce, so ready to challenge the throne, suddenly become as humble as a servant? Olori's shadow leaned in, her voice dropping to a whisper that carried more weight than a shout. She began to talk about the internal war she had been fighting. She confessed that for a long time, she felt like her mind wasn't her own. She described the brainwashing as a slow poison that was fed to her by people she trusted, people who wanted to use her to shake the foundation of the palace. I was a pawn, she repeated, her voice cracking. I was a tool in the hands of those who don't love the golden king. They saw my fire and they used it to try and burn down the house I'm supposed to protect. She went further to explain that her behavior during the times the golden king and Queen Naomi had issues was all part of a bigger plan she didn't fully understand then. She swore to the golden crown elders that she never wanted to see the king unhappy. She claimed that seeing the golden king and Queen Naomi together now brings her joy, and she would do anything to protect that bond. The suspense hit a new peak when she addressed the loyalists who are still out there, especially those on social media. She sent a direct warning to anyone who thinks they are doing her a favor by attacking the palace or Queen Naomi in her name. If you say you love me, then you must love the golden king. If you say you are with me, then you must respect Queen Naomi, she warned. She made it clear that she doesn't want any more warriors fighting on her behalf. She wants the toxicity to end. She wants the insults to stop. She told them that anyone who continues to cause wahala is actually her enemy, not her friend. As she spoke, she turned her eyes toward the direction of Queen Naomi's quarters. Even though the queen wasn't standing right there, Olori's shadow spoke as if she was looking her in the soul. She promised that her loyalty to the queen is not just for show. She said she wants to be the one to hold the umbrella for the queen when it rains and to clear the path for her when she walks. I have no hidden agenda, she cried out, hitting her chest. I am not looking for the throne. I am not looking for power. I am just looking for a chance to clear my name and show that I can be a woman of peace. She talked about her personal transformation, saying that the silence of her current situation has allowed her to hear the voice of truth. She admitted that she used to be addicted to the noise, the drama, and the attention, but now all she wants is the quietness of a clean heart. She spoke about the humility it takes to come out and admit you are wrong, especially when the whole world was watching your mistakes. But even with all these emotional words, the air in the land of the golden crown remained heavy. People were wondering, if she was under a spell then, who is to say she's not under another kind of influence now? Or is this a real Olori shadow finally breaking free from the chains of the elders? The mystery was far from over. She had apologized to the living and even made peace with the memories of the past, but the shadow of her previous claims still loomed large. She finished this part of her speech by calling for a total reset of her relationship with everyone in the palace. She wanted to be seen as a builder, not a destroyer. She wanted to be the one to mend the broken walls. Her focus was now 100% on the happiness of the Golden King and the peace of Queen Naomi.
The climax of the afternoon reached a point where Olori Shadow could barely stand on her feet. She was physically exhausted from the weight of her own confessions. She took a deep breath and looked around at the faces of the Golden Crown elders and the palace officials. Her final words were not just a plea, they were a total surrender. She made a solemn vow that shook the room. She said that from this day forward, she would never again be an instrument used to work against the relationship between the Golden King and Queen Naomi. She told the king that she wants to return fully to the palace, not as a rebel, but as a daughter of the house. "This is my home," she sobbed. "I never wanted to be anywhere else. All I ever wanted was to be close to Queen Naomi, to be her friend, and to live in harmony." Olori Shadow's message was clear. She has learned her lesson in the hardest way possible. She admitted that her past actions were misunderstood because they were driven by the wrong influences. She reflected on her mistakes with a broken heart, promising to live a life of honesty and service from now on. She thanked the Golden King one last time for giving her the chance to correct herself, saying she would never take his kindness for granted. Every word she spoke was meant to show that she has no ill will left in her, no resentment, no bitterness, and absolutely no secret plans. She is a woman who has hit rock bottom and is now begging for a ladder to climb back up. She concluded her long, tearful speech by calling for unity. She begged everyone in the land of the Golden Crown to find it in their hearts to forgive her. She wants the cast to be buried in a grave that will never be opened again. She wants the negativity to stop so that the palace can move forward in strength. As she stepped back, the room remained silent. Everyone left to wonder if they had just witnessed a true miracle of change or a very clever strategy. My Crown G signs and families, before we go, I must remind you that everything we have discussed here today is based on rumors and alleged information currently making the rounds on social media. These are social media rumors and should not be seen as proven facts or taken too seriously yet. We are just bringing you the gist as it is being discussed in digital streets. What do you think? Is Olori Shadow's spiritual spell story the truth? Or is she just playing a very smart game to keep marking to the Golden King's good books? And can Queen Naomi truly trust a woman who once claimed her son was the heir?